he had sex with a robot. And my friends and I went and watched this, and we were like, what technicality would have to happen for you to have sex with a robot and not realize you're having sex with a robot?
Is this a discussion? Is that a
Yes.
rhetorical question?
Yes, this is a discussion. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Desi Talkies podcast, a show where we talk about Bollywood, Lollywood, South Asian pop culture, and everything in between. My name is Ananya Sethi.
I'm Aneesa Khan.
And today we are talking about the Shahid Kapoor and Kriti Sanon starrer Teri Baaton mein Aisa Uljha Jiya. Whew, a mouthful already. It is about a robotics engineer that accidentally falls in love with a human-like robot, and he must try to figure out how to make her blend into his day-to-day life.
सारी लैंग्वेजेस बोल लेती हो, हर तरह का खाना बना लेती हो, पहली बार सिगरेट पीती हो और खांसती भी नहीं हो। तुम लड़की हो या अलादीन का चिराग?
अलादीन का चिराग। मैं भी उसकी तरह सबकी विश पूरी करती हूँ और मुझे किसना भी नहीं पड़ता।
तुम मजाक कर रही हो या लाइन मार रही हो?
लाइन मार रही।
Can humans really fall in love with robots is what the film asks, and we shall discuss and answer.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the film, but we're also going to be kind of talking about the themes portrayed in it, how technology and Bollywood have blended in the past on screen, and our thoughts of AI coming into the forefront.
So let me first ask, Aneesa, have you watched Black Mirror and Love, Death, and Robots? There's an animated show and a TV show on Netflix.
I haven't seen the animated show, but I'm a huge Black Mirror fan. It is the only thing in the world that I've seen on screen that has terrified me because it is real life and it will come true. And I think the way that they portray themes with recent times and actors that we recognize is really helpful for us as an audience to understand how the world is changing. So this film was very interesting because it had elements of Black Mirror, but it had romantic comedy elements.
Yeah, I have watched episodes of Black Mirror. I haven't watched all of it. I watched the recent season completely, and then I have watched episodes of Love, Death, and Robots. And such a scary idea that robots are taking over society, whether you think of it as AI, like Apple is releasing that new AI virtual reality headset thing that's like all these things that are taking over our reality or reality as we know it is so scary. But Bollywood did it starting with I mean we'll talk about the 2000s specifically when it comes to robotic films. I mean, if we really want to go back, we can talk about Tarzan the Wonder Car, but I don't really want to talk about that film. Have you watched Tarzan the Wonder Car?
No, and the title itself makes me never want to watch it.
I think everyone should go watch Tarzan the Wonder Car. But we'll talk about the 2000s. We had Love Story 2050. We had Robot, which was Hindi dubbed and Telugu, and Ravan, which was like the predominant big films. What do we think overall when we go back in time and think of Bollywood and robots and AI?
I think that it does not work. I have not that's like a really
short,
simple way to say it.
Summary.
Yeah, I haven't seen Robot, but I have seen Love Story 2050, and it is the worst Bollywood film I have ever seen in my life. That and Mayor Mrs. Khanna, worst Bollywood films
Oh
I've
my
seen in
god.
my life. I know I just dragged something from the past. It's crazy.
I don't know why I ever watched Mayor Mrs. Khanna in life, but the fact that it now sits somewhere here in my head, whenever I get a sharp headache from this side of my head, I just know it's Mayor Mrs. Khanna from this side of my head just talking to me.
I remember I took my whole family to the theater when it came out, and we left the theater just so angry. And that's like one of the defining moments of my life. Okay, so that and Love Story 2050 when I was watching that on a Ratchet TV in like a room in Pakistan. Terrible film. Uh Raw one also terrible. They capitalized way too much on video games, costumes, music, and they didn't have a strong narrative. The effects were better, so good for them, but it just didn't make any sense. And why does Shah Rukh Khan have an afro at any point in the film? I don't understand the logistical component of that was the least logistical, and he was a robot in the movie. Okay, it's
We
like
just talk
it
about
just
that
didn't make
song,
sense.
Criminal, and the booty going pop, pop, pop.
Okay, so I use my Spotify Magic Shuffle, and every week that song comes up in the Magic Shuffle, and I just
I
get
know.
so like
And
viscerally
body
angry.
going pop, pop, pop. And this is the step, pop, pop.
And then dinna, dinna, like I don't understand.
The fact that they got
Guy,
Akon for that movie to do 2 songs. No, but
just such a
Bollywood,
mess.
I'm not even just gonna say Bollywood. I think India as a country has been really behind when it comes to doing films about robotic advancements, AI, etc. Which is where we come to Teri Baaton mein Aisa Uljha Jiya. Now, when the poster released for this film, had no idea this is what it's going to be, right? We thought it was a
Yeah,
rom-com or just a romance drama. I would have taken that too. Shahid Kapoor and Kriti Sanon, which they look really good as individuals.
they're both so hot.
Yeah.
I
Right.
can't.
No, so they both look really good. The look of the first poster that came out was really good. Teri Baaton mein Aisa Uljha Jiya is a song by Raghav, which has so much love from the early 2000s kids or people who know Raghav in general, right? So already this film had a lot going for it. Now, I think out of all the films we've mentioned thus far, this is actually a film that did a good job considering we have
This is
seen
the best one.
correct. Correct. So I will say, like, scenes where we had Shahid Kapoor's aunt who runs this company, like, as a AI being show up, VR being show up, virtual reality being show up. They were actually done pretty
Me and
well.
Ananya are not like we're not like
Technology
robotic.
doesn't,
Like
yeah.
we're not good with these terms.
I was not in robotics club. I was in theater club, and so I'm a theater baby. I'm not a robotics
Me too.
baby. Yeah, correct. So I think that those were actually pretty well done. It was pretty realistic. Even the robots that they showed through the film, like if we're talking just about CGI compared to Rawan Love Story 2050 Robot, I haven't seen Love Story 2050 or Robot, thankfully. Um,
Never watch Love Story 2050.
yeah, I don't think I ever could watch. All I do
I think if
remember,
I ever had to torture someone, I would put them in a room and I would put that movie on and I would just lock the door. That would be
my
like
Roman
torture.
Empire is the 60th or 65th Idea Filmfare Award, where Ranbir and Priyanka dressed up as robots.
I remember that.
And they were like talking to themselves from the future and then like coming back to stage and doing these bits. And I don't know who wrote that, like who the writer on that Filmfare Awards was, but I think about that all the time. And that is where Bollywood has come to in terms of robots. So we're doing them as
This is like
bits in award shows.
unrelated. Yeah, it's like bits and award shows, but on an unrelated note, my Roman Empire is I think it was Aifa, Shahid Kapoor and Farhan Akhtar co-hosting and doing that rap thing in the audience.
Yep.
Sorry, that's
And
I just
another one, I'm
iconic.
sorry, another film. As you guys can tell, all my early 2000s kids, I know film fairs have really just, they're sitting right here in your head with Mayor and Mrs. Khanna. So
We don't watch them
access them anymore.
anymore, but
No, but they used to be. My other one is Shahrukh and Saif in Kachi Keri and Mango costumes. Please tell me you remember this. And Sheila and Chikni Chameli costumes. Please tell me you
I
remember.
remember. I remember. I remember. I remember. I
Not
remember.
Sheila, sorry, Chikni Chameli and Silk Smitha costumes. Ooh la la
I
costumes.
can't wait to make a clip out of this and find the videos. That's what I'm really
Oh
excited
yeah.
about.
Oh yeah. No, these are just anyway. Back to Teri Baaton Aisa Uljha Jiya. So we
Oh
have
yeah, we're talking about a movie.
Shahid Kapoor, who is a robotics engineer. I don't even know. Aryan is his name. What's his name? Akash, Aryan, one of the A's.
Aru.
Aryan.
Aru.
Aru, correct. So he is a
Aru.
robotics engineer who moves in with his aunt for some project that he's working on with her and finds this really beautiful girl who works for his aunt and falls in love with her. What proceeds to happen is, you know, really absurd. And now we're going to get into spoilers talking about this film.
मेरे मन में सिफ्रा के लिए फीलिंग्स डेवलप हो गई हैं और ये जानने के बाद भी कि वो रोबोट है वो जान ही रही है
एक बात पूछूं, रोबोट होना बुरी बात है क्या?
बिल्कुल नहीं
तो फिर
तेरी बातों में ऐसा उलझा जिया
He had sex with a robot. And my friends and I went and watched this, and we were like, what technicality would have to happen for you to have sex with a robot and not realize you're having sex with a robot?
Are we? Is this a discussion? Is that a
Yes.
rhetorical question?
Yes, this is a discussion.
That was my first thought, but like as soon as it happened, like I feel like they addressed all
Did
those
they?
questions because I
Did
feel
they?
like that's what everyone was thinking. Yeah, because with this conversation with his friend was like, "How did you not know?" And he was like, "Oh, look, feel, touch, like was the same."
So
Like
you're
they're not gonna
telling
show it.
you're telling me that they made a
It's
robot.
a Bollywood
Hold on,
movie. We
hold
have
on.
to
Let me cook.
believe what they
Let me
give
cook.
us.
Let me cook. They made a robot, and then they put a fleshlight in the robot.
I can't have this conversation.
You
But
can,
you, by all means, please carry on.
but like, what else would they have done for him not to realize?
So you're wondering about the mechanicals of this.
Correct. And how did he not get electrocuted? Like, anyway,
For me, I was just like, kuch na kuch hoga. Like, you know, like it's
I don't
fine.
know.
They said it's look, feel, touch.
I had two friends, one on each side, both men, being like, I think that this happened. I think that this happened. And then we had a discussion, and this is the conclusion we came
Wow, that was not my takeaway from the film, but that's really cool.
to.
I went alone. And this is not a discussion I had with the random family that was sitting next to me covering their kids' eyes during certain scenes.
So,
Yeah.
so robot Sifra and him tend to, fall in love. And as they fall in love, he's like not in acceptance of the fact that she's a robot, eventually comes to the acceptance that she's a robot and decides to marry her. What do we think? I don't even know where to begin with this storyline. Like,
There's so many things. I think I want to talk about the characters itself first.
yeah,
First of all, after this film, the only reason, like the main reason this film worked is because of Kriti Sanon, and now her number one fan. She did incredible acting. Her performance was great. So many hit or miss scenes that worked because of her and
yeah,
her performance. So she just did an incredible job. If we're talking about the narrative, it gives me a similar dilemma that I had when I saw Poor Things. Yeah, so ideally Adu falls in love with her. One, she's smoking hot, obviously, and two, because he has like yet to find like the perfect match for him. He has really high standards. And the whole idea that he wants someone who knows everything and can do everything for him and can like be exactly what he wants is really toxic if we're thinking about that. But I tried to not think about that. I'm like, take a step back. It's a Bollywood film, okay, like whatever. Like, it's also really great to see Shahid Kapoor back in his like rom com era, and that's something that I've really been missing. And I thought we weren't gonna see again after Kabir Singh, Bloody Daddy, Furzy, like everything. And it's so happy to see him. And like this is like where he came from. These are his roots, like his little charming smile and like serenading the girl and everything. But yeah, Kriti Sanon saved this film. Some of the dialogue was incredible and really funny. And I think a lot of the dynamics are what did well in this film. But yeah, if we're talking about the narrative itself, a lot of problematic things in there.
Yes. I overall good film. I don't think it was a bad film. Will I be watching it again? No. There's no reason for me to be like now there's absolutely no reason for me to be watching it again. It was not interesting enough. I think that this as a on paper, this is so interesting as a film. On paper, this film has everything. It has love. It has AI, which the whole world is talking about right now. It has the idea of can humans fall in love with robots? It has the idea. It has Shahid Kapoor. It has Kriti Sanon. It has good music. On paper, this film is actually a blockbuster hit. Did that? I don't know if it came through in the screenplay. I don't know if it translated well on screen. I don't know what. I can't pinpoint one particular problem that I have. I think it wasn't intriguing and interesting enough. The bulk of the film is us being in love with them. Like, this is going great. This is working out perfectly. The problems that they were having were the like same problems that any cross-cultural relationship would have, bringing a girl home to her, like meet the parents, or a guy home to meet her
What,
parents.
the battery dying? That's common.
No, not the battery dying, but like every time something would happen, oh वो अमेरिका से है. Like,
गोरी चिट्टी है ना, वो अमेरिका से है ना मॉम, ये दोनों हाथों से खाना बना लेती है,
वो अमेरिका से है ना.
अमेरिका से है ना.
like like they took exactly what would happen if you brought a Punjabi girl to a South Indian household, or a South Indian girl to a Punjabi household, and those were the problems, and then the answers were, oh, she's not one of us, and then the solution was, oh, she'll become one of us, or oh, she'll adapt, or she adapts, or will adapt, and will, was it really interesting? No, because we've seen it happen again and again and again. Putting a robot on charge throughout the film is like,
सिफरा, सिफरा, मासी इसको डॉक्टर के पास लेके चलते हैं.
इसकी बैटरी डेड है, टाइम लगेगा चार्ज होने में.
the only thing that makes her a robot is the fact that you have to keep putting her on charge until the moment where things go south, the actual climax of the film, which was actually very interesting, and I wanted more of that. I wanted to see this slowly happen and become, and not, it didn't make her evil. Talking about the climax, there is a power system situation that happens, and she turns to start doing everything that they've told her in the past, that they canceled, all the commands that they told her that they've canceled. She goes and starts doing those commands. And as humans, we often talk about like, oh, just smack him in the face. And so she does exactly that, even though they're telling her not to do that in the moment. She goes and remembers that she has deleted commands, and she goes and fulfills them. That's the climax of the film. Very interesting.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Like, in that moment, I was like, oh my God. See, this is what the problem is in the whole film. We took an hour 45 to get here to this point where I'm like, the should have happened a little earlier, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there was a bit of a lull for like a good amount of the film. Honestly, they just look so good together, and I was just mesmerized. But now that you bring it up, I do think that like there was like just nothing happening for a large part of it.
Yeah.
But I think the writing was good. If the writing was bad and like the witty dialogues were bad, then it wouldn't have worked. So that also saved the film. Is this film doing well in the box office right now?
I think it's medium well. And I'll tell you why I think that the creators of the film knew that it was not going to be that great. When you drive in Mumbai from the Bandra Worli Sea Link, when you drive on that expressway, there's 3 Teri Baaton Aisa Uljha Jiya posters, one after the other, and not spread out, like literally next to each other. Like you're driving, it's 1, 2, 3. And that's how you know the creators really needed to put the money somewhere and be like, watch this film. Watch this film. watch this film because my Mumbai homies know when people buy those hoardings, something's up with the film.
No, I think it is like a good watch. It's a fun watch, but I think it's very difficult to kind of balance, like the technological aspect of the film and the love story. Like the film starts off with such heavy, like, okay, this is what he does for work, and this is like his aunt, and like these are the conversations they have, and this is her place in the US. And then it kind of just like his entire life becomes like Sifra. I think that there should have been definitely a more equal balance between understanding her and the workings of her in like relation to his field and his work to their love story.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't as balanced enough in terms of themes for us to relate to it enough. That's why it's so difficult for like to tackle these robotic themes.
Although I do like the theme though, more than I thought I would. I do like that idea of
Me
discovering
too.
what robots mean to us in our current, world. And I do like that they weren't like, "Oh yeah, you can fall in love with a robot." No, literally the answer to this whole predicament is humans cannot fall in love with robots. Like it's not compatible, right? Cuz it doesn't work out for them, or so we assume. We don't know, right? But we do assume that it doesn't work out for them. They have to update her whole system and software and whatnot. And then they present another Sifra, which is also Kriti Sanon, but he turns. I thought that last scene was actually a really good last scene for a film
It was so good.
because you have a cameo appearance show up, and he kind of like goes, we're assuming that he's about to go out on a date with this human girl that he's working with now. So I thought that I would put this film in the category of like Tu Jhuti Main Makar when it comes to like rom-com-y type films, but that was just slightly funnier because of Bussy. This was the definition of like the second or third draft of a film making it to the screen. I think it needed to go through a couple.
Yeah, it's getting closer. It's getting closer. They're getting there slowly.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the first draft because it did have its moments where I was like, okay, there is something here, but it did feel like it was like second or third draft waiting for its final draft to be written out properly.
Mm-hmm.
Music. Let's talk music.
Okay, first things first. Why is the film's name Teri Baaton Mein Aisa Uljha Jiya? Why the whole thing? Why can't just Teri Baaton Mein? Or like Teri?
Teri,
Just
just
Teri.
Teri.
I'd rather have that than the whole song. We know the song. You've ruined the song for us. Just take a
Okay,
little bit.
so
Don't
this
use the
film
whole
has
title.
5 songs. One by a really good friend of mine, Talvinder, and he did tell me like a while ago that he is working towards a song for this film, and it was a sync. It's the song is synced, so the song already exists. It's called Galna Char, and then there's the new version of it called Galna. Claps for the homie! Yay, Talvinder! Yay,
Yay!
friends doing cool things. Then there's a song called Tumse. There is a song called Teri Baaton Mein Aisa Uljha Jiya by Raghav, homie, doing cool things. But yeah, didn't do. I didn't like this version of the songs. I have nothing to say.
Teri Baaton Mein, that remake, still used his voice, but they manipulated it so much that it doesn't even sound like him.
Yeah, and then we have Akhiyan Gulab by Mitraz, and then Lal Pili Akhiyan. Lal Pili Akhiyan felt like, yeah, it just I don't know. I don't know what to say about
I
the.
love that song.
I love the song too. The video of it felt like they took multiple different Bollywood song videos and put them in.
Yeah, but it's a banger.
One thing that this movie made me remember is that Shahid can dance, which sometimes we forget. We just forget sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, in like Utta Punjab and Kabir saying he was just drunk on the floor. He's been drunk on the floor for hella films now.
Yeah.
And Heather, drunk on the floor. All this stuff, drunk on the floor. Bloody Daddy, drunk on the floor. So yeah, he
He
can,
can
be
dance,
sober on
dude.
the floor.
He
And
can dance. He can dance. He's a dancer. Um,
He's just so good.
I think my favorite song is Lal Pili Akhiyan and Gala, and obviously I am very. It's Talvinder's song. I have to love it. I already do love it, but
No, I thought the music they did such a great job, but like they really just like fumbled the bag with the title track so bad. Like, can we talk about that choreography and the outfits?
yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
I
I
actually didn't
don't.
mind.
I
I
don't
didn't
get it.
mind those. I didn't mind the choreography. I thought that they had to do. They had to make it a little awkward because she's a robot, and I thought that they did a really good job with throughout the whole film of doing that. Yeah, I didn't mind the movie's music, but what my problem is, they synced "Teri Baaton mein Aisa Uljha Jiya" to, like, they took that song, and then they used it as the background for the whole film. So every time something would happen, you'd like that part would play after every weird thing that would happen in
Yeah,
the film, and I was like,
but it's so much better than a transition song. Like, why is it being used as a transition song?
yes, that's exactly what I mean. I'm like, I don't want to hear it when she's crying. I don't want to hear it when she's happy. I don't want to hear it every 10 seconds just because the movie's name is after the song. It felt lazy. That part felt a little lazy.
It did.
But yeah, so overall, what are our thoughts? I want to know what this film has made at the box office. As of February 18th, this film has grossed 66 crores in India and 34 crores overseas. So it's made 100 crores. Okay, normal for films these days to hit that 100 crore mark. It's done well. What?
This is the way you're saying, like, it's done well. Yeah. Normal. It's okay.
Yeah, मतलब ठीक है, हो गया, कर लिया. Like
Yeah.
it,
100 crores. Maybe कमा लेती हूँ.
to me it was a very average film, bro. Like it was just ठीक है.
Do we
Like,
want to see more movies like this?
you know, so I watched Ye Jawani Diwani yesterday in theater, and I absolutely had the best time of my life. Every song, the background score, the characters, everything, the way the film wraps up, all of that. Even though I've watched it billions and billions of times, I was not tired. I was not lazy. Everyone in the theater had a good time. Like, I left with a smile on my face. I cried at the end. All of those feelings. I don't remember the last time was watching a rom com and I felt that, like a Bollywood rom com. I don't remember. Rocky or Rani, I would say yes, but it you don't feel like you could be in Rocky's shoes or Rani's shoes as it's more, it's
No.
larger
Yeah,
than life.
yeah.
With a film like Ye Jawani Diwani, with a film like Hum Tum, with a film like Jaane Tu Ya Jaane Na, with these type of films, when we think of, rom com films, you feel like you could be those characters. They're not larger than life. They are us. They have the same aspirations as us. They're going through the same feelings as us. I don't remember the last time I watched a rom com film and I felt like that. And I know that this is a sci fi rom com, but then I needed more sci fi to feel. Then I should be scared. I should have been scared of Sifra
Hmm.
for longer. Or I should be like questioning. Like when we're watching Black Mirror, we are literally like mind fucked. We're like, oh my God, I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know if I should like it, not like it. I don't know how to feel. And here we were just watching. So either give me a good rom com where I am crying and I'm happy and I'm like, heart is warmed, or give me a good sci fi where I'm like, whoa, 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 what is happening? And I leave questioning my entire, reality.
Yeah, I think that's the main issue with this film is that like can't classify it as a rom-com, but I can't classify it as a sci-fi film either. So that's kind of with the difficulty of this film, like it doesn't really know what it is. And I think it was close. It was like halfway there, a little more than halfway, probably best attempt we've seen thus far. But yeah, it's still not there. I would love to see more normal people stuff. I I don't know. I just think AI has taken jobs. It doesn't have creativity. I'm tired of seeing deep fakes. I'm tired of people on TikTok seeing what them and their boyfriend's baby will look like. I don't. It just. I think we have so much creativity left as humans. I think there's so many more stories to tell. I think it would be cool to elaborate on that. So I don't know if we need to see more of this stuff, but if we are going to, it should be balanced. It should be 50-50. It should be clear on its themes. And I think we are slowly getting there if that's your goal as a filmmaker, but we don't need to, no?
Correct. Correct. All right. So that was us talking about Teri Baaton, Aisa Uljha Jiya, Love, and Robots. I overall last thoughts on the film from my side and the concept. I'm on the same page as Anissa. We agreed on a film and our thoughts on the film. Um, I think that with the whole SAG-AFTRA strike as well, and such things going on in the world where AI is slowly taking over our jobs, and as creatives we see it as well. At one point they said that robots can't take over creative jobs. And here we are, where robots are taking over creative jobs. And so, with all that in question, a film comes out with good intention. And I think it was a film with good intention. I think it did have good thought. And on paper, I actually do think this would have made a pretty good film. I just think we need to work a little bit harder on the Hindi film end when it comes to telling a story and where we put that story. Is it a rom-com? Is it a sci-fi? And if it is a sci-fi rom-com, how should I as the viewer be feeling? I just felt like it was a little boring because of that. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty decent. I would probably watch it again, having known the plot now, and see what I think. But I think it would be pretty meh. Yeah, I think that there's so much more room to grow, and I think we need to work on having genre hybridity and kind of blending genres better and not just sticking to one thing. If we're gonna stick to one thing, that's fine. But if we're gonna blend it, it gotta be 50-50, like me and Ananya. But yeah, thank you for listening to our episode talking about love and robots. You can catch us every Thursday on Spotify, YouTube, and all your other audio listening platforms. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us, send us a like, and check out our Instagram for some clips. I'm Anissa,
And I'm Ananya, and
and this is the Talkies.